The Galactic Armada hovered in the silence of space, an endless array of warships blotting out the stars. They moved like a relentless tide, each ship bristling with advanced weaponry and shields honed from centuries of technological dominance. The Armada had conquered dozens of systems, reducing worlds to ash and bending civilizations to their will. Earth, a relatively primitive planet by galactic standards, was merely another conquest in their unbroken march of supremacy. The invasion had begun months ago, with the Armada's scout ships tearing through Earth's defenses like paper. The human fleets, despite their bravery, were no match for the Armada's overwhelming firepower. Earth's orbital stations and satellites were obliterated in the first wave, and within weeks, the planet's atmosphere was filled with the smoke of burning cities. Resistance seemed futile, and the Armada's commanders took grim satisfaction in watching humanity's will crumble. Broadcasts across the galaxy heralded Earth's impending fall, warning other civilizations to remember their place in the galactic hierarchy. Amidst the destruction, Earth's leaders convened in desperation. Politicians, generals, and scientists debated endlessly in underground bunkers while entire continents were rendered uninhabitable. The Armada's flagship broadcast a message to humanity, delivered by a cold, arrogant voice. "Surrender now, and your extinction will be merciful. Resist, and we shall erase your species from existence." On the surface, humanity seemed to comply. Cities raised white flags, transmissions of surrender were sent, and Earth's remaining military forces ceased overt operations. To the Armada, it was proof of their inevitability. Earth was broken, and its people were cowed. But beneath this facade, the planet was alive with clandestine activity. Hidden factories buzzed with production, and deep underground, far from the Armada's prying eyes, humanity's brightest minds worked tirelessly. Something was being prepared, something the Armada had not anticipated. The Galactic Commander, an imposing figure clad in ceremonial armor, stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching Earth through an enormous viewport. His advisors presented reports with smug satisfaction, detailing the complete pacification of the planet. They spoke of Earth's technological backwardness, mocking the crude designs of its military equipment. To them, humanity was nothing more than an annoyance, a minor obstacle in the grand plan of universal conquest. As days turned into weeks, Earth's apparent compliance bred complacency within the Armada. Patrols grew lax, their fleets repositioned for what they assumed would be a final, symbolic strike. The Armada underestimated the resilience of the human spirit, a mistake they had made with countless other civilizations, but none as resourceful or desperate as humanity. The narrative across Earth shifted subtly. Underground broadcasts reminded the populace that surrender was a strategy, not a defeat. "Survive the present, prepare for the future," the messages declared, rallying what little hope remained. Human ingenuity, sharpened by centuries of adversity, was now focused on one singular goal: survival at any cost. Within hidden facilities, teams of engineers and scientists labored around the clock. Whispers of Project Leviathan spread among those in the know. It was said to be humanity's last gamble, a weapon of such unprecedented scale and power that it could turn the tide of the war. Few knew the exact details, but the very mention of it reignited hope in even the most despondent hearts. As the Armada celebrated its supposed victory, small anomalies began to surface. Scanners detected strange energy readings emanating from Earth's poles, dismissed as lingering damage from earlier battles. Supply lines for Earth's underground resistance remained oddly intact, despite the Armada's best efforts to destroy them. And then, there was the silence. No more desperate pleas, no attempts to negotiate. Humanity had gone quiet, unnervingly so. The Galactic Commander ordered his analysts to investigate, but their findings only deepened the mystery. Earth's factories appeared inactive, its military installations abandoned. To the Armada, it seemed as if humanity had resigned itself to extinction. Yet, for all their advanced technology, they failed to see what lay beneath the surface. Hidden beneath layers of deception, a carefully orchestrated illusion. Unknown to the Armada, Earth's fleets had not been destroyed entirely. Ships that had seemingly been obliterated had slipped into stealth mode, hiding in asteroid fields and behind planetary debris. These remnants were not merely fleeing, they were coordinating. Every move, every signal, was part of a larger strategy to buy time. Time for something the Armada could not predict. The Galactic commander, growing impatient with the lack of resistance, prepared for a final act of annihilation. "Deploy the Omega cannons," he declared, his voice reverberating through the flagship. "Let this serve as a lesson to any who would defy the might of the Galactic Armada." As the Armada's forces prepared for the coup de grace, the last vestiges of Earth's defenses seemingly crumbled. Civilian ships broadcast distress signals, begging for mercy. Entire cities lit fires in the shape of surrender symbols, visible from orbit. It was a spectacle designed to disarm suspicion, and it worked. The Armada's focus remained on domination, oblivious to the trap that had been laid. Within the hidden depths of Earth's command centers, humanity waited with bated breath. The Galactic Armada believed it had won, but Earth had one final play. A plan that had been in motion for years, accelerated by desperation, and now on the cusp of fruition. The Armada was about to face something it had never encountered, a force born not from dominance but from the sheer will to survive. The Galactic Armada moved into Earth's orbit with an air of triumph. Their victory was assumed, their dominance unquestioned. Thousands of warships formed an iron blockade around the planet, their weapons trained on its surface, ready to unleash annihilation. Within their ranks, confidence bordered on arrogance. They had crushed Earth's defenses, silenced its fleets, and brought its people to the brink of submission. To them, humanity was a dying ember, its final spark snuffed out. As the Armada prepared to deliver the finishing blow, an eerie calm fell over Earth. The planet's surface, scarred and battered, seemed to offer no resistance. The Galactic commander watched from the bridge of his flagship, issuing orders with an air of inevitability. His officers coordinated the fleet's positioning, ensuring there would be no escape for the remnants of humanity. What none of them realized was that their carefully laid plans were about to be shattered. Without warning, energy signatures began to register on the Armada's sensors, massive, unexplainable, and growing stronger with each passing second. Confusion rippled through their ranks as ships scrambled to identify the source. The readings were unlike anything they had encountered, emanating from deep within Earth's atmosphere and the outer reaches of the solar system. Before the Armada could react, the first of the Dreadnoughts emerged. It came from the shadow of Earth's moon, a colossus of metal and light, its hull gleaming with an unearthly radiance. The Dreadnought dwarfed even the Armada's largest ships, its design a seamless blend of human ingenuity and alien technology. Its presence alone sent shockwaves through the Armada, a stark contrast to the battered remnants they had expected. This was no relic of a dying civilization, it was a weapon forged with purpose, precision, and power. As the Dreadnought advanced, its weapons systems activated, unleashing a barrage of energy that tore through the Armada's front lines. Ships that had withstood countless battles disintegrated in moments, their shields useless against the Dreadnought's firepower. The Armada's formation faltered as commanders scrambled to regroup. This was not the resistance they had anticipated, it was a reckoning. The Galactic commander barked orders, demanding countermeasures and reinforcements. Fighters swarmed the Dreadnought, their weapons peppering its hull with futile strikes. The ship's shields absorbed the attacks effortlessly, its countermeasures dismantling entire squadrons with calculated precision. It moved with an uncanny grace for its size, a predator among prey. Each strike was devastating, calculated to sow chaos and fear. As the first Dreadnought wreaked havoc, more began to appear. From hidden bases beneath Earth's surface, from asteroid fields on the edges of the system, they emerged one by one. Each was unique yet shared the same terrifying capabilities. Together, they formed a fleet that outmatched anything the Galactic Armada had encountered. Their arrival was no coincidence. It was the culmination of a plan years in the making. The Armada's initial shock gave way to desperation. Their numerical superiority meant nothing against the Dreadnought's unrelenting assault. Entire battalions were obliterated in minutes, their wreckage scattering into the void. The Dreadnoughts were more than just ships, they were statements of defiance, embodiments of humanity's refusal to be extinguished. As the battle raged, the Dreadnoughts began to target key elements of the Armada's fleet. Command ships, supply vessels, and weapon platforms were systematically destroyed, disrupting the Armada's cohesion. The Galactic commander, now visibly shaken, struggled to maintain control. His confidence, once unshakable, was eroding with each passing moment. The Armada was no longer an unstoppable force. It was a cornered beast, lashing out in vain. The Dreadnought's impact was not merely physical but psychological. For the first time, the Galactic Armada faced an enemy that could match and exceed its capabilities. Their assumptions of superiority, built over centuries of conquest, were being dismantled before their eyes. The sight of their ships falling one after another, powerless against the Dreadnoughts, sowed fear and doubt among their ranks. Amid the chaos, humanity's remaining fleet joined the fray. Smaller, faster ships coordinated with the Dreadnoughts, exploiting the openings they created. The human admiral orchestrated the assault with precision, turning the tide of the battle with every calculated maneuver. It was a masterclass in strategy, blending brute force with surgical strikes. The Armada, for all its might, found itself outmatched and outmaneuvered. Despite their losses, the Galactic Armada fought on, their pride unwilling to accept defeat. They deployed their most advanced weaponry, pouring every ounce of their firepower into the Dreadnoughts. The resulting clashes lit up the void with dazzling displays of energy, a testament to the sheer scale of the conflict. Yet, for all their efforts, the Dreadnoughts remained unyielding, their defenses impenetrable. As the battle reached its zenith, the Dreadnoughts unveiled their ultimate weaponry. Beams of energy, so intense they seemed to bend the very fabric of space, lanced through the Armada's core ships. Each strike was a masterstroke of devastation, eliminating multiple targets in a single blow. The Galactic commander watched in stunned silence as his fleet, once the pinnacle of galactic power, crumbled before him. The Dreadnoughts continued their advance, pushing the Armada to the brink of annihilation. What had begun as a display of dominance had turned into a desperate struggle for survival. The Galactic Armada, the terror of countless worlds, was now a scattered, broken force. The tide had turned, and the battle for Earth had become a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The Galactic Armada, though battered, began to regroup under the desperate command of their leaders. With precision born of long-standing discipline, they rallied their forces, attempting to re-establish formations to counter the Dreadnoughts. Tactical adjustments were made on the fly, deploying waves of smaller, highly maneuverable fighters in an effort to overwhelm the Dreadnoughts' defenses through sheer numbers. Every available ship, regardless of its condition, was brought into the fray. The Armada's counteroffensive was swift and coordinated. Squadrons of fighters swarmed the Dreadnoughts, aiming to exploit any potential blind spots or vulnerabilities in their massive frames. Capital ships unleashed concentrated barrages of firepower, targeting weak points that their advanced scanners worked desperately to identify. The space surrounding Earth turned into a chaotic battlefield, with energy blasts, explosions, and debris creating a deadly tapestry of destruction. Despite the Armada's efforts, the Dreadnoughts demonstrated an unrelenting dominance. Their adaptive shielding systems analyzed and absorbed the incoming attacks, recalibrating in real time to counteract the various weapon types deployed against them. Each attempt by the Armada to breach their defenses was met with calculated responses. The Dreadnoughts' targeting systems, powered by advanced AI algorithms, neutralized threats with ruthless efficiency. Swarms of fighters were decimated in seconds, their formations scattered like chaff in the wind. The human admiral, watching the battlefield unfold from a secure command vessel, directed the engagement with surgical precision. Unlike the Armada's rigid hierarchy, humanity's command structure thrived on adaptability. The admiral's orders emphasized exploiting the Armada's weakened cohesion, striking at their logistical vulnerabilities while the Dreadnoughts engaged their main forces. Smaller, agile human vessels darted through the chaos, executing pinpoint strikes on supply ships and communication hubs. The Armada's reliance on centralized command became its Achilles heel. As the battle progressed, the Dreadnoughts revealed even more of their advanced capabilities. Their weapon systems, far beyond anything the Armada had encountered, demonstrated a terrifying versatility. Massive plasma cannons obliterated capital ships with a single volley, while precision laser arrays targeted fighters and smaller vessels with uncanny accuracy. Perhaps most devastating was their ability to deploy electromagnetic pulses, which crippled entire squadrons of the Armada's ships, rendering them defenseless. The Dreadnoughts' technological superiority was not an accident. Years of secret development had gone into their creation, with humanity pooling its brightest minds and scarce resources into the project. Their designs combined cutting-edge human engineering with reverse-engineered alien technology, creating a class of warship that could stand against the mightiest fleets in the galaxy. Each dreadnought was equipped with advanced propulsion systems that allowed for rapid maneuverability despite their size, giving them a tactical edge that the Armada had not anticipated. The psychological toll on the Galactic Armada was immense. What had once been a force fueled by unshakable confidence was now gripped by fear and uncertainty. Commanders who had once mocked humanity's capabilities found themselves outmatched and outsmarted at every turn. Reports of entire battalions being wiped out by a single dreadnought spread like wildfire, sowing panic among the remaining forces. The destruction of the Armada's flagship marked a turning point in the battle. Targeted by a coordinated assault led by the human admiral, the flagship was struck by a devastating salvo from one of the dreadnoughts, its advanced shielding systems unable to withstand the onslaught. The loss of the flagship threw the Armada into disarray, severing their chain of command and leaving many of their forces leaderless. What had once been a unified offensive now devolved into chaotic skirmishes, with individual commanders acting independently in a desperate bid to survive. Humanity's fleet capitalized on the chaos. Coordinating with the dreadnoughts, they pressed the advantage, focusing on isolating and neutralizing the Armada's remaining strongholds. The battle turned into a relentless pursuit, with the dreadnoughts leading the charge. One by one, the Armada's ships were cornered and destroyed, their superior numbers reduced to scattered remnants. The vacuum of space was littered with the wreckage of once mighty vessels, a testament to the ferocity of the conflict. As the Armada's forces dwindled, some among their ranks began to surrender. Messages of capitulation were transmitted to the human fleet, their tone a mix of desperation and disbelief. The Galactic Armada, which had once been an unstoppable force, now faced the unthinkable, defeat at the hands of a species they had deemed inferior. For the surviving members of the Armada, the battle was no longer about victory, it was about survival. The human admiral issued orders to accept the surrenders, prioritizing the preservation of life where possible. Despite the overwhelming power at their disposal, humanity's leadership recognized the importance of restraint. The battle for Earth was not merely a fight for survival, it was a statement to the galaxy. Humanity's resilience, ingenuity, and determination had prevailed against the odds, and the dreadnoughts were the embodiment of that triumph. The remnants of the Armada, scattered and broken, retreated from the battlefield. For the first time in its history, the Galactic Armada fled. Earth's orbit, once dominated by the Armada's imposing presence, now belonged to humanity. The battle was over, and the tide of the war had irrevocably turned. The Galactic Armada's retreat marked the end of their dominance, and the beginning of a new era. Earth, once seen as a vulnerable outlier in the galaxy, had risen to deliver an unmistakable message to the cosmos. The dreadnoughts stood as symbols of defiance, their towering forms unscathed, silently hovering as sentinels over the planet they had protected. The battle's aftermath was a landscape of wreckage, a grim testament to the cost of the Armada's arrogance and humanity's determination to survive. The human admiral addressed the remnants of the Armada in a broadcast that echoed across the stars. It was neither a declaration of revenge nor a taunt, it was a proclamation of intent. Humanity, the admiral stated, desired peace but would no longer be seen as a passive participant in the galactic order. The message was clear: Earth would defend itself and its people with unmatched ferocity, and any force that threatened them would face the same fate as the Armada. The words carried weight, not because of bluster, but because they had been earned through action. In the days following the battle, Earth turned its focus inward to rebuild. Cities in ruins began to see the first sparks of renewal. The unified effort that had forged the dreadnoughts was now redirected toward reconstruction. scientists, engineers, and strategists who had labored in secrecy were brought into the public eye, celebrated as heroes for their role in securing humanity's survival. The Dreadnoughts were no longer a hidden project. They became a point of pride, their existence a reminder of what could be achieved when survival was the only option. The Galactic Armada's defeat sent shockwaves through the galaxy. For centuries, their supremacy had gone unchallenged, their victories a foregone conclusion. Now, word of their failure spread rapidly. Civilizations that had lived under the shadow of the Armada's rule began to question their own subservience. Revolts broke out on distant worlds, spurred by the knowledge that even the most powerful force in the galaxy was not invincible. Humanity's triumph became a beacon of hope for the oppressed and a warning for those who sought to dominate others. Diplomatic channels, long ignored by the galaxy's major powers, now lit up with messages directed toward Earth. Governments and coalitions sought alliances, eager to align themselves with the species that had accomplished the impossible. For humanity, this was an unprecedented opportunity to establish its place among the stars. Earth's leaders, guided by the same resolve that had carried them through the battle, carefully navigated these new relationships, ensuring that their newfound strength was used to foster cooperation rather than conflict. The Galactic Commander, once a figure of unyielding authority, was disgraced. The remnants of the Armada that had survived the battle returned to their home systems in shame. Among their people, the loss to Earth was seen as an unforgivable failure. Political unrest brewed within the ranks of the galactic hierarchy, as leaders questioned how a single planet had managed to turn the tide against them. The internal fractures within the Armada's power structure grew, further diminishing their ability to project the dominance they once wielded. As Earth's influence grew, so too did its responsibility. The Dreadnoughts, while symbols of strength, also carried the burden of expectation. Humanity now possessed the means to become a dominant force in its own right, but the lessons of the battle reminded them of the cost of unchecked power. Rather than using their newfound capabilities to conquer, Earth's leaders sought to protect and stabilize. The Dreadnoughts became more than weapons. They became guardians, ensuring that no other force could impose its will on Earth or its allies. Within the galaxy, debates arose about the implications of humanity's victory. Philosophers, strategists, and scientists from countless civilizations analyzed the events, searching for answers. How had Earth, a planet that had once been considered insignificant, managed to not only survive but decisively defeat the Armada? The answer, they realized, lay in humanity's capacity to adapt. Where others relied on tradition and established hierarchies, humanity had embraced innovation, risk, and sacrifice. It was a lesson that many civilizations sought to emulate, while others feared it as a threat to the established order. For humanity, the victory was both a relief and a sobering reminder of the challenges ahead. The Galactic Armada had been defeated, but the galaxy remained a vast and uncertain frontier. New threats and opportunities would emerge, and humanity's place among the stars was far from secure. Yet, the triumph against the Armada had instilled a confidence that could not be shaken. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger, proving that resilience and ingenuity could overcome even the greatest odds. The Dreadnoughts, now stationed at key points within the solar system, served as both a deterrent and a reassurance. Their presence reminded the galaxy that Earth was no longer vulnerable, while also symbolizing the unity that had brought humanity to this moment. Among Earth's people, the ships became a source of inspiration, their names etched into the collective memory as a testament to the power of determination. As the years passed, Earth's legacy of resistance began to reshape the galaxy. Formerly oppressed civilizations found new strength, inspired by humanity's example. Coalitions formed around shared goals of freedom and mutual respect, challenging the old systems of domination and control. Humanity, once an outsider, became a central figure in this new order, guiding its evolution with the wisdom gained through struggle. Even as Earth celebrated its victory, it did not forget the cost. The lives lost, the cities destroyed, and the scars left by the conflict served as a constant reminder of the fragility of peace. This awareness drove humanity's efforts to ensure that the conditions leading to such a conflict would not arise again. The Dreadnoughts, while powerful, were only a part of this strategy. Humanity also invested in diplomacy, education, and the pursuit of knowledge, recognizing that true strength came from unity and understanding. The Galactic Armada, now a shadow of its former self, faded into obscurity. Its defeat marked the end of an era of unchecked oppression and the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. Humanity's victory had not only ensured its survival but had also set a precedent that would echo for generations. The galaxy had changed, and Earth stood at its center, no longer a target, but a beacon of hope and a symbol of what was possible when the will to endure met the courage to act.